Hello and good morning. My name is Marlies. Welcome to my channel. Maybe you saw my video last week and you remember that I created some papers for my paper stash with the new Tim Holtz color, the distress color, Scorched Timber. This was the first paper that I created, and today I'm going to have another play and see what I can get out of this. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out 3 little tags out of this paper. I have cut 4 out of it because that was a little bit more positive on the paper, so that the piece of paper that is left it's like bigger, so you can use it better for other things later on. Yeah, but what are we going to do with this today? I have put the tags onto my mixed media mat, my craft sheet, so I can play with mediums on this surface. And yeah, I just want to try out some things, and yeah, I think I will go for a more of a grungy effect. Yeah, of course my go-to is the Distress products, the Scorched Timber. Follow along and enjoy yourself. My first step is a basic acrylic gesso. I like this gesso. It's a little bit more thick and it has a little bit of texture, grain in it, which I really love, especially for a grunge effect. So I will put this on my craft sheet and I will use a brayer. And I think I will choose to go for just one side of the tag. So I'm not going to cover the whole tag, but just one side as an accent. And why a layer of white gesso? Well, the Scorched Timber could go on top, even in maybe a paint or mixed in a paste or something like that. And with the gesso underneath, the Scorched Timber will be more visible. Okay, so we did the gesso, but what is the effect of the gesso? I can show you a little bit more up close. The layers that we created to make this background paper, you can see in my last video. I have also used the distress inks and oxides, and that means when you put gesso on top, inks are getting activated by a wet medium. So the gesso is a wet medium and the inks are activated by that. That means that my gesso isn't white, not totally white anymore, but it is mixing a little bit with the layer underneath. So you will get different kind of tones because of that ink that is underneath. And that is the fun thing that I really like about combining inks and paints and gesso, because this is an unexpected result that you have no influence on. And yeah, that is perfect, because when you are suffering of perfectionism, this is a great technique to let that a little bit more loose. Make sure that your layer of gesso is totally dry before you add another layer. And what will my next layer be? I will go back in on top of those edges of the gesso with the Distress Paint Scorched Timber. I made sure that all the tags are dry for my next layer. Now I will use this stamp set. It is called The Inspector and the number is CMS 465. And because I am looking for something that I can use in the background, I do not need like a focal point. So I will go for this background stamp. And I'm not going to stamp with ink this time, I will stamp with the Distress Paint Picket Fence. After stamping, make sure to directly clean your stamp, because otherwise the paint will dry and that will damage the stamp. I really like the effect, and maybe you have noticed that I have focused mainly on stamping on the darker areas of the tag. To create a little bit more texture on top of those tags, I would like to use this stencil. This is a stencil from Holtz, and the number is THS145. And to create the texture, I will use the grit paste Opaque. The texture paste is on top of the tags. I will put this to the side and let it air dry. While my tags are drying, I can already focus on a focal point for on top of my tags. I have chosen two different kind of die sets. This is a Holtz and Sizzix die set. The number is 661802. This one is new from the Holtz and Sizzix Fold collection, just released 2 weeks ago, and the number is 666564. From this die set I have chosen the smallest butterfly, because this one will be too big for the tags, and I will cut out 2 butterflies. Then from this die set I would like to cut out both the butterflies, each one time. The first thing that I'm going to focus on is to cut out the under layer, so not the delicate top layer, but the bigger under layer. And like I said before in my video from last week, I have created a couple of papers, and this is also one of them. Yeah, I'm going to use this for the under layer of the butterflies. Okay, so in the meantime my tags are dry. That means I can go back in and adjust some things. For example, on this left tag you can see that those textured numbers are quite white, and on the right tag you can see the numbers are more like a little bit more dirty. So that is what I'm going to do right now. I do not want it as white as over here. But how do we get it dirty? On my craft sheet I have put on a little bit of the distress paint Scorched Timber. What I will do is I will dip my finger in it and swirl around. So I only have a little bit of paint on the top, not a blob, not very thick. And I'm going to rub it on top of the raised areas. All the numbers are made a little bit more dirty, they are done. So yeah, what are we going to do next? I would like to age the edges of all the tags with a distress crayon, and I have chosen the Scorched Timber. What I also did is not only to put the crayon on the edges, on the lighter areas, but I also scribbled a little bit in between the numbers. Okay, so I have put the tags in front of me and I've put on the underlayer of the butterflies. And you can see how beautiful the contrast already is with the background and the craft colored butterfly with some Oxide ink on top. So we do not need a whole lot more for the top layer. Mostly I am looking for contrast. And you can achieve that with some darker tones or some lighter tones. So what I will do, I will cut out the delicate top layer of the dies with a black paper and also a white paper, so we can see which one will fit best and matches the most. You can see I have cut out the intricate piece of the die in black and in white. Yeah, so right now, or you have to choose, but I like them both. And when you like them both, yeah, just go with it. So I'm going to do two black ones and two white ones on the top layer. And I still think it is a matching thing. The overall look is good, is cohesive. So yeah, two white and two black top layers. When I take a look at the under layer, you can see it is a craft color. And for example, this butterfly on the side of the wings, you can see a little more darkness of the Scorched Timber Oxide ink. And I really like that effect because it's more, it gives like kind of a shadow. So I'm going to do that on all four of the craft colored butterflies. I'm going to ink up the sides with the Oxide ink. The inking on the craft colored paper is done, but I also would like to do just a little bit extra on those delicate parts. So for the white, I think I will splatter with the Distress Oxide Spray Scorched Timber. And on the black, I will splatter with the Lost Shadow Oxide Spray. And why Lost Shadow? Because when you have seen my video from last week on making and creating the background papers, I also used Lost Shadow, and I want to keep everything in the same color scheme. The splatters are dry, and I've placed all the butterflies on top of the tags, and I've also found a cute little label for the top ones and also for the bottom ones. These labels came out of this package from Tim Holtz, Snippets Ephemera Pack Labels. To make the labels a little bit more old and worn, I will crumple them all up in between my fingers, and after I have done that, I will ink up the edges with the Scorched Timber Distress ink. I would like to give those labels a little bit of an accent. I will do that with the Specimen Remnant Rubs. And this is how the labels turned out. You can see that with just a little piece of remnant rub, it is already good to go. There are a couple of things that I need to do to finish the tags up. I have to glue down all the butterflies and all the labels. Of course, I also want a hole on top of the tags. And I need something like a ribbon, lace or thread or something like that to complete the tags on the top. I have punched the holes and I would like to place a reinforcement on top. I have these white reinforcers from the office supply store. I would like to color them with the Distress Ink Scorched Timber. For the top I have these strips of, well, it is like a light weighted linen, very see-through, very light, and I'm going to color this with the Distress Spray, a Scorched Timber, and then I will set it to the side to dry. In the meantime, I have made 4 sections with the cloth that we just colored, but I also added a piece of black string and some pieces of yeah, what would it be? It's like more like decoration for home decoration. And I will bind it all together and put it through the tag. So that is done. You can leave it as long as you want. For the ones that I made right now, I think those strings are quite long. So yeah, you are able to trim them down. So that will be my last and final step for the tags. And we are done. I think with the basic paper that I created in my last video, if you have not checked that out, yeah, go check it out, because then you can see how I created my basic papers with the Scorched Timber. But yeah, with just a basic paper like that, creating something like this, yeah, I think it is amazing, and not with a whole lot of materials. And I am really, really happy with the result and the grunginess. The color scheme, I think it is very beautiful, all neutral tones, really earth-like. That means I really, really also enjoyed myself, and I hope you enjoyed this video too and got some inspiration out of this. So when you did, please like, subscribe or comment down below. And for the ones that are new here and are not following me, I will put all my links also in the description box below, so you can check it out and get to know me and my work a little bit better. And that was it for today. Thank you for watching and happy crafting, everybody. Bye!